Hello there, welcome back to the Dark Moon podcast. We're going to delve into the shadows of human experience and illuminate the hidden corners of our minds. God, I write a load of rubbish sometimes. I'm Kate Sylvanus, and today we're going to explore a topic that shapes our reality more than we realise. The stories that we tell ourselves. Now, this is where I have rewritten my narrative, right? So I have done this personally. And yeah, I can generally feel that I've rewritten my past. Every now and again, I have to sort of go back and rewrite my past and sort of write it in a little bit more perspective, a little bit more depth, a little bit more things. And other times I'm just like, stuff this. I don't want this to have happened. I'm going to deny my story and I'm going to rewrite it. Right? So we all have them. At least maybe that was a generalized comment. The inner monologues, right? So the running narratives that define who we are and what we're capable of and what the world experiences from us, expects from us. Now, I'm told that maybe there are a few people, there's a percentage apparently, who don't have this inner monologue. I'm not sure how they work, to be honest. I can't talk about them. They are not in my experience. So these inner narratives are woven from our past experiences, our fears, our hopes, and the voices of those that are around us, right? So we tell ourselves a story of how our lives would be. And each morning we wake up and we're kind of like re-embedding those stories. But what if these stories, these ingrained narratives, are holding us back? You see, this is a lot of life coaching, counseling and things like that. They look at retraining, putting it out there differently. So rewording it, basically. And if they reword it in such a way that you can say, hey, well, okay, that didn't happen as I wanted it to. But if I sort of retrain it into another direction, what if I can change myself? What if I can actually move forward? And if these things are painting a picture of limitation and despair rather than the possibility of new probabilities and empowerment. So think about it. Do you tell yourself that you're not good enough? I know I do. Every now and again there's this chord that comes through. Sometimes, when it's like a down after sugar, sometimes you haven't slept well, you wake up and, oh, I'm so awful, I can't stand. And you listen to these voices in your head and you think, hang on, what? Maybe you're destined always to fail. I'm a failure and nobody loves me. I'm like, you're always the victim. And I listen to these things in my head and I'm like, is this me talking? Right now, there is arguments to say that there is like a programming running, or we have been programmed to run this program, that perhaps it isn't us. Okay, but we'll get to that in a bit. But these are huge statements and they become self-fulfilling prophecies. Our brains are incredibly receptive to the stories we feed them. And we find evidence to support these narratives. You see, that's where I go wrong. Oh, you see, that's not an emotional thing, that's a fact. And it's like, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Let's rewind that back. Let's see if I can reframe that into something a little bit less negative. But so it ends up distorted or incomplete. It's like our brains there is certain programming in my brain. I can only talk from my experience, but I feel that there is a programming running. And I pick it up in other people, so it's not just me. And you can see the programming running, and it's distorted. It's not the way the rest of us see things. So in the CBT training, cognitive behavior training that I'm doing, people often walk into a room and think everybody hates me. Nobody wants to. Oh, and that person just looked at me and laughed, so it must be at me. I have recognized this program in a lot of people, and it is just a program. It is distorted. So I'm not going to ignore the fact that some people are total assholes, and maybe nobody does like them, and sometimes, they maybe are not good enough, and maybe they do fail. Okay, so maybe I am not good enough. Maybe, yes, I will. Maybe let's put the maybe in there. So it's not ignoring the challenges we face. It's about recognizing the difference between acknowledging reality and being trapped in a negative interpretation of it. I liked that sentence. I wrote that thinking, well, you've got to say to reality, okay, I see you, right? I see you, but I don't want to interpret this so negatively. I think pouring blame on myself completely is out of order. And this is often what happens when somebody has a go at you, or you didn't get a job, or you get told you're flaming useless, go away, you get sacked from a job. I've been asked to leave jobs in the past, and I have taken it on personally, and then I've looked at it. I don't want to look at the negative interpretation because I can see clearer. You take away the crushing personal defeat feelings, and you look at the person and you think, God, you're full of shit. You look at the person and you think, I would not take advice from you. I'm not going to take the insult from you. I also can see your insecurity, your low self-esteem, and I can see that so clearly that you probably can see it reflected back, and you're not actually hitting out at me, you're hitting out at a person you perceive me to be, and they're aspects of you, and you haven't learnt that yet. Oh, crumbs, I've had to go through some mental gymnastics trying to rewrite my narrative, my inner narrative. But when you start looking at people who push you down hard, right, keeping you down, you look at them clearer and you start pulling away all the emotional thing, and you look at them and you realize their own inner narrative has told them something that is distorted and untrue. I wouldn't hit back. I wouldn't do the things that I have been accused of. But they have read the story in their head wrong, and they are reacting to it as if it is a true thing. So, where was I? Okay, so let's say you experience a setback at work. You tell yourself, I'm a failure, I'll never succeed. Right, I have done this. Or you could say, that was a difficult experience, but I can learn from it and grow stronger. Difficult experiences. Now, one of these days I'll do a podcast about the wisdom of adversity, wisdom through adversity. So we use the difficulty and the feelings that it stirs up in us, how to grow from it, because that has been my greatest achievement, I think, of my life. It doesn't say much, but to me, whenever something is challenging, I can rise above it and keep rising above it, keep going. Now, sometimes I stagger a bit. It's not always fluid, but I learn from it and grow stronger. So you see the difference. One is a dead end. One is, oh, hell, nobody loves me and I'm useless. And the other is, hey, I'm going to use this and I'm going to grow from it. It's not necessarily accurate. They have distorted reality. So you can see a path forward. So how do we rewrite them? How do we break free from the limited stories and holding us captive? Now, I have already mentioned one, is where you just reframe it. So you take the sentence, I am a failure, and say, right, well, I failed this time, but I'm going to learn from it, grow from it, and not make the same mistakes. So the first step is recognizing the stories that you're telling yourself. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. What are the recurring themes? I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I believe that is a common one amongst many people. Those two things are recurring themes. I see a lot of people who feel they're not good enough. It's like a core negative thought. So what are the negative beliefs that surface repeatedly? You can write it down. You can meditate. You can simply take a moment to absorb your thoughts. I observe my thoughts on a mostly regular basis. All kinds of things come up. And then you can also listen to the stories that your mind is telling you and say, and keep correcting it. Keep pulling it back on track. That's not true. That's not true. Didn't happen that way. We're making things up. Mind, stop it. Brain, stop it. And it is just observing and coming back. But then there is also a bit where having a look at that thought that comes up. So something hard has happened and you're sitting there holding that pressure as it holds you down. It's pushing you down, making you feel worthless, powerless. I get red flags. I've trained myself to put a red flag up every time that feeling comes on. And that red flag is saying, oi, take a look at this. What is it? You can get it when you're on social media, when you read something that is so distorted and so corrupt and so wrong. And my whole story starts shaking that sort of thing can exist. And again, red flag goes up. That story may or may not be true. On the internet, it must be true, all of that stuff. And you just got to look at what it triggers in yourself. Because there was a story out that really, really hurt me. And it wasn't anything to do with me. It was something to happen abroad. And I was like, I could feel my heart just start to weep that this sort of thing could happen. Right, stop, look. So are you weeping for the victims? That doesn't help. It's not helping them. Can you recognize the monster that did this? Can you find the monster in yourself that did this? And I took some deep looking at the story. Can I find the monster that would do this? And it took some shoveling, but I shoveled out and I found the monster in me. Okay, so once you find the monster in you, this is shadow work. But the shadow works, it brings it to the light. So I poured light on the monster in me. And I kind of like the people doing this to hurt young, innocent things. I could do that. I could be the victim. I could be the perpetrator. I have to bring it in balance. I have to bring the balance and bring the story of balance that I could have done both. Right? I don't know the circumstance. I don't know the context. But in me, it is quite capable to be both the angel and the demon. I am of duality. So looking at the story of my duality has helped heal the impact that story had on me. I can't do anything about the victims or the perpetrators. That's beyond me. The powerlessness was just horrible. But what I can do is use it to say, okay, I am a duality being. I have the angel, I have the demon. And both of them have to be acknowledged and loved. And that's part of inside. So awareness of this and questioning it. Question their virtuality. Why? Is this truly accurate? Is there another way to interpret the situation? What evidence supports this belief and what evidence contradicts it? Because if you're looking at somebody who is laying into you and making you feel down, can you hold that emotion at bay? I'm not good at it. I freely admit it. In other words, I go into reaction of, I'm sorry, poor me. But I am learning. I'm rewriting my story just to hold. And I can take a couple of breaths and think, you're just being an asshole. I can see your lack of self-esteem. I can see your lack of confidence. I can see your anger, and it's at yourself, and you're redirecting it at me. I can see all of this, but I'm still going to take on the blow of your words. So you have to look at this, but you have to challenge it. Because in the words of the Sith, deals in absolutes. So the shadow side deals in absolute, the always. You're always like this. You're always a failure. You're never enough. Absolutes. I don't believe in absolutes. I've come straight round to the Jedi side of things. There's always some contrast. There's always levels. You're not always a failure. You've just failed the last couple of times. You may pass the next time. So along with awareness and observing your thoughts, challenge the absolutes. Okay, so then we're back into reframe. Take the negative story and rewrite it. Instead of saying I'm not creative, say I'm just developing my creativity. A lot of things with creativity is that society writes the story that it doesn't pay. And a lot of the times it was never meant to pay. It's taken years to realise that writing a book, you should do it for the joy of writing a book. Painting a picture, doing a poem, it's not designed to bring in money or even to go onto the global level. And a lot of the time the society we're in doesn't want to pay you for it anyway. So instead of I'm afraid of public speaking, try I am learning to communicate effectively. I laughed at myself at that. So action. Words are not enough. You need to take action that aligns with your new narrative. So in other words, when somebody is talking to you and they're making you feel small, can you hold your own belief inside without reacting back? I am learning this. I'm still going this way. So setting achievable goals to reinforce your positive beliefs. Celebrate your progress no matter how small. I am making progress. I'm so much better than I was years ago. I'm looking back now at my past and thinking, gosh, how did I survive my 30s? I was such a mess. At least I've got the semblance of getting it together. Just a little bit. But it's having compassion for self. You see, I'm not good at that, but I'm getting better. Be kind to yourself. Changing deeply ingrained beliefs and patterns takes time and effort. I have setbacks, and I'm trying not to let them derail me. I acknowledge that I'm struggling, and I learn from them, so I keep moving forward. It isn't about pretending that everything's perfect. It's about cultivating a mindset that empowers you to face challenges with resilience and hope. It's about recognizing that you are the author of your own story, and you have the power to rewrite the new chapter. In the stories we tell ourselves, we shape our reality. I wrote that, and I wanted to go a little deeper into it, because I was always told thoughts create things, thoughts create reality. But the thing is, you are co-creating your reality with how many billions on this planet? And they're all created their own reality. So we're kind of co-creators in reality. We can't say that gravity doesn't work anymore. Okay, we can't create that reality because there's a lot of people here who believe in reality. So we can shape our own inner reality. By choosing to tell stories of strength, resilience, and possibility, we can unlock our true potential and create life that is, if not fulfilling, is a lot easier to coexist with your own mind. Because I do believe that our minds are influenced highly, right? I'll have thoughts that I'm thinking, where the heck did that come from? That's not my sort of thought. It's part of the programming. I'm on social media, I hear things left, right and centre, and I take it on board like it was my thought. It wasn't. So rewriting your story, that is another skill set for existing in the world that we are living in, the programmed world. When you start having thoughts that you think, well, I don't think that was me. I'm not feeling violent. They often say that the first thought you disregard. It's the second thought that you use. That's quite an interesting one. So the first thought you have about a situation or a person, that's nonsense. Don't listen to it. The second thought, however, is something worth paying attention to. But these are all things that I've just picked up. The power of rewriting your narrative, the power of your self-stories that you tell yourself. Look at them. Just be aware, if nothing else. Question, reframe, have compassion for yourself. And if you can, take little goals, little small steps to being kinder to yourself and just allowing the fact that you're having a human experience. And you don't have the memo, you didn't get the manual on how to deal with this sort of level, this mind creature. Whether it's part of the body or part of you, that's up to you to work out. But I always say that it is part of the body. And it is a hard work to deal with your mind. A lot of people's mind destroy them. I've seen it quite a few people. But have compassion for yourself. Don't let them derail you, and keep moving forward. The power of this is to keep moving. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. I've enjoyed it too. Take care of yourselves, and please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment. I am so pleased that I'm moving forward with my podcast. You've inspired me to keep going. If you could check out my weavesofwaves.life, that would be great. Love you lots. Bye now.